Hi everyone, this is Dr. Nitin Choda with Ignition Time. Thank you so much for visiting my channel. If you don't know anything about me, please check out my introductory video on our channel. I have the fortune, the privilege, the honor of living the American dream, and I want to help you live your American dream. Right now, I'm going to answer the question, what can a claimant do if he or she believes that the job offer is not for suitable employment? Now, I'll actually help you define what is suitable employment in this video so that you know what your rights are and what your options are as we hopefully start to get ourselves back on track and start to get our jobs back. I'll first give you some guidelines directly from the government, from the Department of Labor, and then I'll look at specific guidelines pertaining to the state of Michigan. Remember, your state is going to have its own guidelines, but the guidelines are fairly similar across states, and you may want to check with your state about their definition of specifically what is considered suitable employment. Let's take a look at guidelines from the Department of Labor. This is the government about suitable employment. The question is, what can the claimant do if he or she believes a job offer is not for suitable employment? If a state raises an issue of failure to accept suitable employment, by the way, this means if your employer or if someone reports to the state that you rejected an offer of suitable employment, the state unemployment insurance agency will provide you, the beneficiary, you, the claimant, an opportunity to provide your side of the story, which is why with this video my goal is to educate you about what is considered suitable employment, and you have the opportunity to provide your side of the story and to contest any evidence that was provided to the state about the fact that you rejected suitable employment, and then the state will make the final determination. This is a good thing, because if your employer or if anyone lets the state know that, hey, you rejected an offer of suitable employment, and if you do not contest and if you do not defend yourself, you could just lose state unemployment benefits. You could potentially be subjected to penalties. You could potentially be subjected to legal proceedings. So the idea here is for you as a viewer, subscriber, citizen, for you to understand what constitutes suitable employment, and I'll give you some guidelines. Now, most state laws allow for refusal of suitable employment for good cause. We'll define good cause, and again, this good cause is defined by state law. Criteria for good cause can include but are not limited to the following: the degree of risk to an individual's health. In other words, if there was a safety concern for you to get back to work, if you felt your employer did not have a safe work environment. Morals, this is also mentioned by the Department of Labor. Safety and morals, the individual's physical fitness. Let's say your fitness prevents you from getting back to work. That could be considered a reason for you to reject an offer of quote unquote suitable employment. Prior training, experience and earnings, the length of unemployment, prospects for securing work in a customary occupation, in other words, an occupation consistent with your prior work and consistent with your prior work history, and the distance of the available work from the individual's residence. So distance also plays a role here. Claimants may file an appeal if they disagree with the state's determination regarding suitable work, and you need to contact your state unemployment agency for further information. On your screen right now, you'll see some guidelines from the state of Michigan, and these guidelines were issued a couple of months ago, but they are useful guidelines about what is considered suitable work. So in determining whether full-time or part-time work is suitable, the law considers the following criteria. Number one, employee's physical fitness for the job. Number two, degree to risk of to the employee's health, safety and morals. Number three, employee's prior training and work experience. Number four, length of an employee's unemployment. Number five, employee's prospects for securing work in his or her customary occupation. You can see that these are guidelines from the Department of Labor, which are fairly consistent across many states. Distance of work and employee's prior earnings. So it also says, the state of Michigan says, an individual who refuses an offer of work that is determined to be suitable will be denied benefits if the pay rate for that work is at least 70% of the gross pay received immediately after becoming unemployed. So this is something to take into consideration. If you were offered something that was close to 70% of the gross pay received in the past before you became unemployed, and you reject it, that you would no longer be eligible for unemployment. By the way, I know that most of my viewers and subscribers do not want to stay on unemployment. The idea is to get back to work. The idea is to become a part of society again, if you will. But for many of us that are unemployed, that have our hours significantly cut down, these things matter, because this will allow you to continue to collect benefits if you're eligible for them and know your options and know your rights. So You will have to again talk to your specific state. Now let's give you some examples of when when employment is not considered to be suitable. According to this guideline from the state of Michigan, work is not considered to be suitable if the employer is unable or unwilling to provide a safe workplace required by current state and federal law and guidance. Employers have the responsibility to prove that workplaces are safe and in compliance with appropriate workplace safety laws and guidance. So this is something that's very important. Your employer has responsibilities. So again, let's make sure that that we understand all the guidelines. I will provide you with a link in the description section below to this specific guidance from the state of Michigan. You'll need to contact your state for specific guidance. Now this also says good cause to refuse suitable work. Let's examine other reasons. Examine other factors for good cause related to the refusal for suitable work. The individual's normally available transportation is now unavailable. For example, if you're using some ride sharing service and you don't have a ride to get to work, that is considered good cause. The individual is under self-isolation or self-quarantine in response to the elevated risk from the pandemic due to being immunocompromised. So, this includes older adults who are 65 and older, those who are pregnant, those with specific disease or chronic conditions such as cancer, heart disease, lung disease, chronic liver disease, severe obesity, diabetes, malnutrition, and certain genetic disorders. So, if you're immunocompromised, then that factors in. Those with specific medications or on specific treatments such as steroids, chemotherapy, radiation therapy, dialysis, stem cell, bone marrow, organ transplant. So again, there are specific guidelines here, and there are many other guidelines. The individual has had contact in the past 14 days with someone with a confirmed diagnosis of the illness related to the pandemic, COVID. And there are other factors like the individual just recovered from the pandemic, but the infection caused medical complications, rendering the individual unable to perform his or her job duties. The individual is required to care for someone with a confirmed diagnosis of the pandemic. The individual has a family responsibility as a result of the pandemic and does not have access to customary arrangement or a reasonable alternative. The individual has now this is important. If the individual, according to the state of Michigan, has a reasonable belief that the workplace is unsafe or not in compliance with state or federal guidance and law. This is a reasonable belief. You can't just say, oh, I don't want to go to work, it's not safe. That is not considered a reasonable belief. If an employer claims that a workplace is suitable because it meets state and federal workplace safety guidelines, the employee may still have a good cause to refuse that work if the employee can establish that he or she has a reasonable belief that the workplace does not meet safety requirements. So as an employee, if you can, I quote, if you want to demonstrate good cause, the employee will have to establish a reasonable belief that the workplace does not meet safety requirements. And again, merely being afraid to return to work is not a good cause. So if there is a refusal to work determination and you want to protest it and you want to appeal it, you want to contest it, you have to do so within 30 days of the date at which you are notified. The employer must prove that a specific offer was made to the employee and that the work was suitable. The employee will have to prove that the offer was not received, that the work was unsuitable, or that he or she had good cause for refusing the work. And I provided you with all of the reasons pertaining to the good cause. Again, keep in mind this information was intended to be a starting point. So please make sure you use this information as a starting point and contact your state for specific information related to the offer of a suitable employment or the refusal or the establishment of good cause. But I think this gives you a lot of really good information for you to decide what to do next and how to approach going back to work. If it is safe for us to go back to work, we all want to go back to work. It's as simple as that, but it's important to have guidelines because there's a lot of confusion out there. My name is Dr. Nitin Choda with Ignition Time. Once again, I have the fortune, the privilege, the honor of living the American dream. Check out my introductory video on our channel. I am a beneficiary of the greatness of America. I'm a beneficiary of American generosity, and I want to return the favor and help you live your American dream. And I want us to, be in a new world where we don't have to talk about unemployment benefits and stimulus checks, and I want to help you. We release videos at 2 p.m. East Coast time most days of the week, so please make sure you're subscribed to our channel. If you want to get alerts from us, get your cell phone out, send a text message with the word ignition or with the word time to 70,000, that's 70000. You can also go to ignitiontime.com/alerts and then get added to our email list. Now you can opt out of the email list or the SMS list at any point in time. No worries. If you learn something new, please click like, please subscribe, please enable notifications. I would really appreciate that. Also follow us on Instagram. Our Instagram handle is instagram.com/ignition_time, because we release exclusive content for our Instagram followers, and we'll start to do more and more of that in the coming days and weeks. Finally, if you don't get notifications from us, because sometimes YouTube does not send out the notifications as soon as we release videos, definitely check out youtube.com/ignition time. That is our homepage for our channel. You can bookmark our homepage, check it out. Check it out once or twice a day. We release videos on a very regular basis. You can check out our videos and you can watch the videos as and when they are released. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Dr. Nitin Chhoda with Ignition Time. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next video of Ignition Time. Thank you so much. I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye.